Hello YouTubers, today we're talking about how to rate higher on your workouts on the rowing machine. So today I'm going to show you me rating higher. So last week we did a 4x4 minutes on the rowing machine. Today we're doing 5x4 minutes on the rowing machine with some high rates. So 32, 34, 36, 38, 38. So we're going to set the monitor up into intervals variable so we can have different rests. So it's going to be 4 minutes, 5 minutes, 6 minutes, 6 minutes rest, 4 minutes of work on each one with increased rates. And with the heart rate, just making sure on the first one it is getting high around 170, 165 and then progressing upwards through, but not completely blowing the doors off on the first one and holding on, making sure there's a little bit of progression. But the key for this workout is getting the rate. We have some splits from the other workout, 4x4 minutes of last week. So we have a rough guide of what to go for. So here's some rating high over this workout, and then we'll talk about how you can rate higher and a few tips to help you do so. So let's get to the workout. Right, go. And a little bit faster than the last one, 34.8. Rate was also a bit easier than the last one. Last time it was end of the first week with weights for the first time. And now getting used to weights, moving a little bit better, so that rate just a little bit easier to hold, just a beat or so higher. But now it's time to recover. I like to keep moving, but not get, I can get up and walk. 4 minutes is quite a lot of time to get up and walk, but just sitting on the erg, going back and forward, and if you want to pick up the handle and do some strokes, but trying to maximize recovery, so not just sitting still, but not continuing full pace rowing. So a bit in between, but now, let's get to the next piece. Round 2, a little bit faster again, rate 34, a little bit burny on that one, but still maintaining rate. So 3 down instead of normal, or 3 to go, round 2 to go. So let's keep stepping on and pushing through. Heart rate hit 170 there, so a little bit higher, about 10 beats higher than the first one. And we're just going to keep on going, keep on moving. So let's get to the next piece. And one more down. Heart rate is climbing, everyone. Oh, I forgot to put the fan on that one, so it was a bit hotter. But 2 more to go. Is it 2 more? Yeah, 2 more to go. Feeling quite difficult, stinging in the legs. We just keep on pushing. Been on the rate so far. Next one's at 38. It's gonna be a tough one. Didn't press record on that one, so we missed that, but a little bit faster again, a little bit higher rate, a little bit higher heart rate. Very stingy in the legs. More than the 4x4 minutes, but we have one more to go. So 133 here, 133 here. Next one faster than that. And holding the rate of 38. So let's get to it.
Come on. Go again, 30 seconds, go again. Yes. That's it. Come on. Go again, stick deep, go again. Yes. Move it up and down, keep moving up and down.
And finished. 5 by 4 minutes. Finished off at the end there at 30.4, rate 39, so hit the rates on all of them, 32, 4, 6, 8. A little bit slower on the fourth one than the fourth one and the last one. Not sure if the average was any faster, but good steps on each one. Pretty happy with that, especially pushing the heart rate pretty high. I think it was 187 on the last one. But now, gonna relax, recover, get some food because remember food is fuel. And then we'll talk about rating high and use some of the examples that you saw here to sort of give you any tips for rating high. But I'm going to catch my breath and I'll see you later. And we've made it back, we're fueled up, we've had some recovery time to rest after 5 by 4 minutes. Pretty tough workout, really spent a lot of energy there, especially on that last one, giving it some real yam towards the end. But we've got 3 tips on how to rate higher. And why do you want to rate higher? Well, in theory, if you're applying the same power and rating higher, you get to take more strokes than the person that might be rating lower, so therefore end up going faster, to put it in very simple terms. But generally, so my PBs have been at a pretty high rate. My 2K PB was at a 37. And I sometimes see people, when they're just first starting, it is quite difficult when you first start, when you're doing any workout, as a 2K or a 5K, whatever it is, struggling to get the rate up. So hopefully these tips will help you get the rate a little bit higher, and hopefully I can put in bits of the footage over what I'm saying to show you actual examples. So the biggest tip I can give you for rating higher is stay within your range. And what do I mean by that? Well, for me, I can reach quite far and pull the handle quite far back. But to rate higher, it is very difficult to reach as far as I can and reach back. So you want to find where you are most efficient and stick to that range. So it might be slightly shorter than what you might consider as full slide. But again, if you're taking 5 strokes a minute more than you would be at 30, that little bit shorter will be faster than that little bit longer at maybe 5 beats lower. So I'll say beats, pips, or strokes per minute, they're all the same thing. But really sticking within your range also benefits being efficient. So when you are rating higher, obviously you're taking more strokes, and generally it's more taxing on the sort of cardio system, the aerobic system. So if you're taking more strokes and being inefficient, it can really turn into some bad news real fast, and you can blow your doors off or just fall off the erg. But if you're sticking within your range and trying to be as efficient as possible, so no extra movements, whether that's leaning forward or leaning back, then it can really help with holding that higher rate. Another tip for rating higher is practice. And I say that because when I have had time off, or it's through a period of time where I've been doing some low rate rowing, the high rates are just very difficult. Your body just isn't used to doing those higher rates. So we should practice doing those higher rates. And that's the point of doing the workouts like today at 32, 34, 36, 38, 38, is getting used to moving at those higher rates. Not just trying to hit fast splits or hit high heart rates. It's also a point to say, okay, I can do, so for example, today I did 8 minutes at rate 38 plus. So it gives me confidence when I'm, say, doing a 2K that I can do rate 38 or around there for an entire 2K. But for you, if you're kind of struggling with like, okay, I can't rate any higher, say it's than 28, well, practice some shorter distances at 30, at 32, at 34. It will be heinous. It will burn the legs and it'll be rubbish. It'll feel terrible. But the more you do it, so it's always getting over that first time you go and do high rate. When you go and do the first one, you'll think, I'm never again. But when you go and do it again, the second time, already you'll feel like, what a difference that made. I'll be able to hit those rates, assuming you're recovered and ready to go for the workout. You'll be able to hit those rates that you were trying to in the previous workout that little bit easier. And then again, if you do it again, you'll be able to hit them even easier. And then you can start to just climb up the rates a little bit. So if you're struggling with 24, 26, 28, then maybe you practice those rates, 24, 26, 28. If you're struggling with even higher, you can practice with those even higher. And lastly, tip number 3, have confidence in yourself. Have confidence in the ability to yam. You don't have to rate high to go fast, but if you can have confidence in yourself to have a high rate on the screen right in front of you, staring right back at you and say, I can hold that rate. I can do this rate for the rest of the piece or the rest of the workout, whatever you're doing. And firstly, just go for it and say, yes, I can do it. That is a really big step as well. And that will feed off of the other two as well, and they're all kind of tie in together. So hopefully those 3 tips will help you improve your high rate rowing. And it's really helped me over the past few weeks. Having the opportunity to rate high, it's now for me less of a, oh my goodness, I have to rate 34 for how long? It's now more of a case of, okay, let's look at the heart rate rather than just struggling to get the rate. It will take time, but if you put in the practice, have the confidence, and find your range at those rates, it will help you. So that will be it for today's episode, Yam Squad. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. Something a little bit different. Try to just go over things that could help people that might be struggling with parts of their rowing. And I see a lot of times people saying they can't rate any higher, or they're asking, is this 2K good, or is this score good? And people suggest you need to rate higher, but then you're thinking, well, how do you rate higher? So hopefully this can help. And that will be it for today's episode. And as always, remember to subscribe if you haven't already. Hit that like button. And I will see you in the next episode of the vlogs tomorrow.